My name is Elizabeth Cady Stanton. When we gathered at Seneca Falls in July of 1848, we did not yet know we were beginning what would be called the women's rights movement. What we knew was that women had never gathered publicly, on their own terms, to name their collective claims and see whether those claims could survive the open air. The room was small. The risks were not. Women came knowing they might be ridiculed, dismissed, or remembered forever for having spoken at all. Some feared we were reaching too far, too fast. This was not consensus, it was exposure. I understood that conversation alone would not hold us. Feeling scatters when it has no center. That is why I wrote the Declaration of Sentiments before we ever entered the chapel, not as a speech, but as a structure. Words people could stand inside together, even when they disagreed with parts of them. I understood that conversation alone would not hold us. Feeling scatters when it has no center. That is why I wrote the Declaration of Sentiments before we ever entered the chapel. Not as a speech, but as a structure. Words people could stand inside together, even when they disagreed with parts of them. The document became our anchor. It slowed the room. It gave us a shared frame before debate could fracture us. People did not have to improvise belief in front of one another. They could place themselves in relation to language that had already done some of the work. But this gathering did not hold because of writing alone. Lucretia Mott brought a steadiness shaped by Quaker practice, the ability to listen without rushing, to let silence carry weight. Maryanne McClintock and Jane Hunt helped create the smaller rooms first, where trust was tested privately before risk was taken publicly. When our most difficult resolution, women's suffrage, nearly broke the gathering, Frederick Douglass understood the moment. He waited until hesitation turned dangerous, then spoke, not to overpower dissent, but to help us decide whether we could move forward together despite it. This is what people misunderstand about beginnings. They think movements begin when everyone agrees. They do not. They begin when a gathering is designed well enough to hold disagreement without collapse. Seneca Falls mattered because it left behind more than memory. It left behind language that could travel where we could not, convening people we would never meet long after the chairs were folded and the room emptied. If you want a gathering to begin something larger than itself, do not rely on inspiration alone. Give people words they can return to. Design a room that can survive disagreement. And remember that no gathering is held by one voice.